your acetate ones. Now acetate, as I explained to you before, is just plastic really. And I've cut these out of old packaging and embossed them. You can see here I've made this one. It's got a white background and we've used colours over the top so that they shine through. Now the perfect pearls in this form, even though it's water based, you spray it onto the acetate, let it dry, and it will stay there. The mica will stay there and create effects. You can also use that flick effect that I used before on one of the paper butterflies, where you just fill up your glaze, you fill up your fan brush, and you just splatter it onto your acetate to give you effect. Later you'll be shown how to do the alcoholic version of this in the alcoholic section. And then you layer it over a plain base. This is another thing you can do here. This one here, it's got a little bit, hard to see, but it's got a little bit of the Perfect Pearl spray on that I've let go around the edge. But it's also, I've used the Glimmer Glam and I've let it pool on there. So I've just brushed it over and let it sink and dry on there to give this effect. When you layer it over, you'll have one of these white butterflies in your pack. When you layer it over, it gives a very soft, extremely pretty look. To enhance that even more, you can get your ink or even your glam again, put it on your brush and just go around the edges of, I don't think I need to show you that, you can see it's kind of done here, just go around the edges of your butterfly so you get more definition in it. Put that on top and it's beautiful, it's soft. I don't know where you can actually see the two colours, but there's sort of like a purple in there and there's also that nice pink. Really hard to pick up on video. Very soft, very subtle, gorgeous, and it's easily just dump it around onto a piece of plastic and let it dry. Remember when you prop this up, that you do prop it up somewhere where you are allowing it to pull down here to create this centerpiece. If you don't get it how you like it, let it dry and just get the next, do another layer how you'd like it. Really pretty. This one here is actually got alcohol inks, which I'll show you later. And if you want to shape these up, it's as simple as warming this area a little bit and holding it. Once it's cold, it will stay up like that, so you don't have to have them flat. And if you don't like that look, just warm it again, flatten it again, and it'll go back down. Okay, so the other thing, of course, is our perfect pearls and our glazes. So we'll show you that other effect. Okay, we'll get our, I'll be using a bit boring, using the same colours, but you'll only have one colour in your pack at this stage. So you just get it onto your acetate. Put a few of those around. You can edge it if you like. I'm not bothering to get the sparkles at this stage, just wanting to give it a bit of an edge. And then I'd let that dry. And then once that's dry, I'd come back with my Perfect Pearls spray. If you spread it out flat, you'll get an effect like this one is. Now you can't see much there again, but when we layer it over the white, you can see that the colours shine out. This has only had just Perfect Pearl spray. You might like that look where you just put the Perfect Pearl spray on, or you might like the look where you just put on some Glimmer Glaze or Glimmer Glam. You might like it just so that it's just got dots on it like this, because that can look spectacular too. But you can keep on going with the colour and the layers. If you try and layer these over something that's very colourful, you'll lose a lot of your effect. But if you just tone it back a bit and you just do a simple butterfly like this with just a couple of colours in it, you'll get those colours coming over there beautifully as well. Won't show up so much for this one because it's a similar colour. You need contrasting colour. But even the pink one, you can see a little bit through. But this one, it's very plain, and you just want dots on it. You can see how that looks quite. You can see the colour coming through. So we've got to wait for that one to dry. I have another one over here where I have used just dried, just the Perfect Pearl on there. You can see how that would give an effect over this lightly coloured one, but over the white one again, it's quite different. So use your acetate like that, and use your acetate. Again, I'll show you how to do that. I'll do the actual acetate with alcohol ink in that section because I think it will make it easier. But it is fun to put alcohol ink on there as well. This one here that I have put the Glimmer Glam on, you still can take it another step. In this case, you do want it to spray because you want dots. Otherwise, you're going to have to dig your brush down into here and flick it on. Remember, water-based, although this one is water-based, that mica is going to dry on there once the water has disappeared. You cannot dry these particular acetate or plastic ones using your heat gun because they're going to warp up. So it is a matter of just waiting for those ones to dry. Around where you want it. It looks quite dark at this stage, but as that water dries out and the mica comes through, you'll have a cute effect. And again, layers over top. To join these up, a little bit of glossy accent, a little bit of glue that will glue plastic to paper. Just put down there, make sure it's clear glue so you can't see it, and enjoy your cute butterflies. So, if you're inclined and you like that detail again, you can go back to your using an archival ink to put detail into it in any colour you like. This one's quite orange, but do it anyway. You can use a cotton bud. With this, you've got a bit of time because it's oil-based ink. So if it goes anywhere you don't want it to go, or looks not quite how you want, you can just flick it off. Once it's dried, it's over. And the only way you can, well, it's not actually over. You could always get some stamp ink cleaner and take it off and start again if you so wished. Remember your edges again, because it looks kind of nice to have those edges done on and leave it to dry. It takes a bit longer to dry on the impervious surfaces. If you were using a StazOn, it would dry pretty quickly on there, and then you would have an effect like so. Very pretty. And remember, if you like, you can just go around the edges of this also with the orange and give it a little bit of detail overneath. This part here doesn't really need to be embossed. I found that it got pretty lost, so I think in the packs, the bottom one where I've given you one of these so you can practice the layering, it's not embossed. But see how pretty that is. It's really pretty. If you also, if for some reason you want to stamp this and texture this with any of your stamps, you can use the archival ink again or your StazOn ink. But do it on the opposite side to where you've worked. And when you do that, because I've used the emboss where it's going down in here, all these pieces are raised. So you can actually put it, so you can put texture on these raised pieces, and the bits in between will be free. The reason why I want you to put it on the opposite side is because if you use StazOn or archival, sometimes it reacts and you don't see a nice clear crisp impression of your stamp. But if you do it on the other side, it'll show through nicely. Metal butterflies. In your packs, you'll also have different colour through your packs. So this one's a copper one, and this one, this red, this green. There's all sorts of ones in the different packs, so I'm not sure which one you've got. There's a simple, this is 10-second studio metal here. It's a nice gauge. You can back it like I have here, or you can just leave it plain. If you don't want to do anything to your metal butterfly, you can just use a sanding block, go over it and bring beautiful detail into there, and leave it at that. The things that will go onto this, your glimmer glaze, your glimmer glam, and your perfect pearls can be sprayed on there as long as you leave it to dry, and your mica will move around on there. You can paint your perfect pearls onto there and it will stay. So you take as much off or as little off as you would like. You can also use metal paints on there, and the metal paints are one from Ranger. They're not in your packs, but just for your information. You can usually buy them in packs of 3. Some people have them singly. And you can shake those up. These are great for jewellery, great for working with metal. They're very strong and they won't come off like an ordinary paint will. So they're made specifically for metal. This one has been painted with the metal paint. It's another look again. At this stage you could still layer it over by putting perfect pearls on there and letting them dry. So don't stop You can see I've just used a couple of pearls on this one to make the little feelers for the butterfly up the top. So don't stop. You can continue to layer, do what you would like. I like to use alcohol inks on these. They dry fast. The girls who have got the alcohol ink option, you can you'll have in your packs. Now these colours don't look very exciting, but they are when they get onto the metal. You've got raisin, you've got eggplant, and you've got the shell pink. You mightn't all have these colours, but you will definitely have 2 darks and you'll have 1 light. The reason why I'm giving you that 1 light alcohol ink is because I don't know whether you have used alcohol inks before, but normally you would use alcohol inks with a alcohol blending solution, which will help move the colours around. Giving you a really light alcohol ink in your pack so that you can move these colours around. For your information, if you use alcohol inks onto your paper, you have to put a coating on first. And it's going to be, this has got alcohol inks and a few other things on it, but I have sealed it first. Some of it is still going to soak through, but it's going to give you a very different effect as to what would happen if you put alcohol inks on your acetate, say. This is alcohol ink on acetate. We'll do a bit of that, and you can look where it gives very, very pretty effects going through, and it's a translucent look when you look through it to colours underneath. So we'll just do the acetate as we're going along doing the metal. You can choose either side. You can leave it like this. You can put archival ink on there and get more detail. You can use, like I said before, all your different mediums to get more detail. And this is the opposite side, and we might do both sides just to see what you think. Now you can use your finger, which is really bad actually because it'll stain your fingers up, or you can use a felt. Again, with the alcohol inks on the metal, it's a matter of layering. 1 layer doesn't do it all. So you see how that's a very pale colour, but when it goes onto the metal, it's not pale anymore. And I drip it on and drip it round and see what I'm going to get. Most of the time I'll choose one of these colours and just quickly give it a base coat. Now see how that all fades away when I go over the top. Most of it's on this little felt square here. We don't want those effects. We want these strong effects. So you're going to get the best results by dripping. Not pale at all when you do it this way. Okay. Now we're going to use some of this raisin colour, which looks totally boring there. But when you start putting it around on here, it's not so boring. And now, this is really looking quite dark, dripping it around. If you want to, you can get a brush and you want to move it around a bit, and you can just move it down and around using your brush. You'll want to let it dry, and it does dry reasonably quickly between the layers. I like to think of alcohol ink as just colour suspended in alcohol. So when the pigment colour, the base colour, goes on, the alcohol flashes off, disappears into the nebula regions, and you get left with the colour behind. Don't worry too much about what you've got at this stage. Sometimes at the end, even when I've put all this colour on, I'll go over the whole thing again with my sanding block just to highlight different areas on it that I want highlight it or go over it again. Same as with the paper, with the archival ink, to put detail in. Spray it with my Perfect Pearls to get detail in. Those parts, I'm not going to show you every single part because I want you to experiment with the products that you've got in your pack. But just know anything is achievable. Don't give up. If you don't like something, it can be changed. You can have, if you want to, it's not something I would like to do, but you can just colour specific areas if you so wish with the alcohol inks. Like on either your metal or your acetate. But you've got to remember, if I bring another coloured alcohol ink on the top of this, it's going to reactivate the alcohol ink underneath and combine, and you mightn't get it so precise. And again, you get that nice translucent effect, so you can see through to what's below. This is actually also using that raisin colour and the eggplant colour and letting it go where it will go. If I want to put this detail back in with my archival, I would just run it across. Show the difference. This just got just a little bit more detail in this. If I drip some of this lighter colour into the middle here, this is what's going to happen. It's going to clear out and take those colours out, which can give you some really interesting effects. So you can always drip it on in places, then you can use one of your other colours to bring in other details. If you're careful, because it'll squirt out, like it just did then. Take some of that away. You can see what happens when you start to bring other colours in. It takes some of it out, some colour out, and moves it around and reacts with the other ink, giving you some quite cool effects. So have a good play with this. If you don't like something, use a little bit of that. If you haven't got any blending solution, use a little bit of the lighter colour to sweep it all completely away. Or you can put colour back in the middle again. And let's see where that runs. So play with the alcohol inks. Use it by dripping it on to get these intense colours. Use it by painting it on. You can, say, paint it on one side, so if you don't want it to react, and you can drip it over the top of the other side. Now it'll allow those colours underneath, because remember they're sitting on this side, to come through. Same works with stamping. If you're going to stamp, to put texture on here, you need to do it on the opposite side of the alcohol ink, because the alcohol ink will just wipe your stamping away. So you can see where, because that's got alcohol ink on that side, it hasn't reacted with the alcohol ink I put on this side, so you get a two-toned effect. I'd keep on doing it on this side how I like it. I might even bring in some of this colour. Whoops, put it there. Let it run through all the little gaps. And just fun, and just play with it. Keep on playing with it till it looks exactly how you want it to play, to look like. Let it dry on there. Do another layer. But you can get some beautiful, beautiful intense colours. Use a brush like this to suck off anywhere where you put too much detail. pretty. We'll just get rid of some of this alcohol ink. If you need to clean up your ink like this and you haven't got blending solution, use a little bit of the lightest colour you've got, put it on there, and it'll reactivate that ink again so you can wipe up your residue. It is killer on these non-stick craft mats. Not that it destroys them, it just does stain them up, because it really soaks down through the fibres. So we've got some stuff happening there. Put some of this lighter colour in and around, I think, on this one. So acetate with alcohol ink, you're going to get looks like that. Let me find some more. If you want just really strong looks, you'll just drip it in places into the middle and have a really rich look to layer over. This is another one with that very rich look using the Dragonfly. You can see where I've dripped that lighter colour in there, which is because you're looking through onto white, it gives a kind of cool effect. This one here, just using some, that's actually got some glimmer glaze on it and some perfect pearl, so you can get a similar look if you use your perfect pearls and your glimmer glaze. If you haven't got alcohol inks, if you want it on your acetate, this is using some extremely rich colours. It depends on what you're actually looking for when you're making something to go with your project, and again using alcohol inks. How are these ones looking? Now, it's not quite dry, but you can see how the dark colours take over, and then but the light shades show through onto your work, so you can see right through it and gives you that translucent effect. Get some really cool looks into your work on the acetate. And it's another one, so that one. So play with the acetate, have fun with that. And with alcohol inks, this one's kind of cute too, like this one. This one I've got a darker layer underneath there. So that's alcohol inks. Now we'll go back to using it on our metal. If I want to clear out some of that again, I'll put that there. I can use my brush to touch up anything. If I want to clear out some of the colour altogether, it can be fun. If you don't like that, put some colour back. Create some cool effects. Just keep on playing until you get what you want. Also, use your glossy accents over this once you've made them. Let me show you some of those. This is alcohol inks on metal. That's alcohol inks on copper. This one's layered and that one is not. Some reds, and this one you can see I've brought the detail back with my archival over the top, and I've used a bit of glossy accents on there. This one's still drying, so I have to be a bit careful. Nice intense one with greens and golds, actually it's yellows. And again, I have put some glossy accents on this to really make it shine out. I hope I haven't got too much shine on this, so you can see some of the details. Here again I've put details back into it. We're using archival ink and this one I've just used alcohol inks over the top. Very intense, very strong colours, very beautiful. You can make it soft if you want. I tend to want to go quite colourful when I'm using my alcohol inks. And you'll get a much softer effect if you use alcohol inks on paper. Do not use it, again, do not use it on straight paper. It'll just soak up your alcohol inks and look terrible. You have to seal your paper before you attempt to go near it with the alcohol inks. So you can see all those different examples. If you want to, you can, like I said before, take that off, get those silver bits back in. If you want to use the coloured side of the metal butterfly that you've got in your stamp, in your collection pack, you can. It'll actually remove, the alcohol ink will actually remove that colour and blend in with it. These are dry now. So now you have the option of whether you want to sand off the tops to get that detail back in there, or you can get a little bit of your alcohol ink, put it down on your mat, have a brush, and you can actually take some of the colour away in areas, like so. And use that to make your butterfly really stand out. And that's a fun thing to do, to get detail back in there. And then if you want to, sand the tops. So it's a similar type one here. You can just bring so there you can see it with it being sanded, and this without it being sanded. If you have one of the coloured ones, you'll find that as you drip your alcohol ink on it, it'll move the colour off the top of it. But you can take advantage of that by just leaving, like on this one around the edges, you can see a little bit of that red that was on there. The other thing you've got to remember is, so we've done that, is that you've got two sides that you can choose from. The people who get ones that are perhaps aligned, you won't have that option, just have to choose whatever one has the metal up. But this one is the reverse of this, so if you sand this one, and you can choose whichever way you want to go. These ones haven't been sanded. All that's happened is I've actually gone over them with the archival black ink and put some glossy accents on there. So there are your alcohol ink butterfly. And these ones are your alcohol ink acetate over layered over the white. You will have seen those in other pictures.